the most LSD movie ever stars Mickey Rooney. And I'll stand by that.
Motherfucking goddamn orange peel beef.
Everybody, it's 1 fucking hour time. I am Evan Husney, of course. Welcome to the show where we talk about one movie for 1 fucking hour. We also got Tom Fitzgerald in the house, and guess what? It's your birthday. What's going on, Tom?
It's kind of my birthday, and we kind of make a thing out of our birthdays, I guess. And so here we go again, year 2.
That's right, year 2, birthday year 2. And we got also Mr. Marcus Herring.
What's up, everybody? It's not my birthday, but...
Not yet.
Happy birthday, Tom.
Thank you. This should be a grueling night,
Daddy.
No, there's plenty of time for that.
Okay.
This is going to be grueling, guys.
Okay.
It's gonna be rough.
All right, everybody. This is, of course, Tom's birthday episode. And if you're new to the show, we do a little thing here every year. I guess now it's a tradition where whenever it's one of our respective birthdays, we get to pick a film to cover on the show with no pushback from anybody else. It is just
No notes.
no notes. It's just a completely unfiltered pick that
Indulgence.
it's pure indulgence on the
What was
show.
your birthday movie?
So my birthday movie was Pin, A Plastic Nightmare.
Right.
Mhm.
They're usually movies that under no other circumstance we would cover other than if it's someone's birthday. So I had Pin, A Plastic Nightmare last year. Marcus, you had...
I had Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I haven't heard of it.
What is it? Star Wars?
Again, a movie we would never cover in
Right.
normal.
Indeed.
That's right. Well, but we did our own unique take on Star Wars, the original
It was
film.
good up.
Yeah, it was a great ep. And then Tom, you kicked this all off 1 year ago, around now, this time now, doing your very special birthday episode, which was on
Cracking Up, aka Smorgasbord, the 1983 Jerry Lewis film. So that's a top fiver.
Our audience needs no intro to that film since it probably comes up more than any other film
It does.
in history on this
on the show.
podcast.
Probably. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, for technical reasons,
Yeah.
there's a little side moment
Yeah,
on there.
moments.
But
on moments.
yeah, it's a top fiver for me.
Yeah.
And I thought, today for year 2
Mhm.
of Tom's B-Day special, let's do another top fiver. And
So what you mean is this is an all-time top fiver?
this is an
for you.
all-time top fiver for this guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
For Big Birthday Boy.
I know. It's a bold statement, but I stand by it. I really
Okay.
feel that way.
All right. Wow. Well, we're about to get into it here for Tom's big birthday. Is episode 56 of the show. And I can't believe this is real, but we're doing 1 fucking hour on the movie that Tom brought for his birthday, which is BJ Lang Presents.
Can I change my mind?
AKA.
Can I change my answer?
Also known as The Manipulator, which we'll get into from 1971. But shall we start the hour?
Let's start the clock. You got it?
I got it. So I'm gonna do it right here on my phone. Here we go.
Clock.
All right.
Okay.
First, a little bit of background on the film, because I'm sure nobody listening to this has ever seen this movie. Maybe. This is a pretty deep cut, but here we go. So feel free to correct me along the way here. This is my stab at piecing together what this movie is about.
Okie doke.
BJ Lang Presents, a.k.a. The Manipulator from 1971, is a lost curio, okay, from the acid-inspired days of indie filmmaking. A tripped-out vision of insanity featuring a lead performance by Mickey Rooney, who plays a delusional wannabe film director who has abducted a woman that he keeps captive in his warehouse filled of old stage props. This is mostly a 2-person theater piece that is amplified by wild editing, hyperkinetic photography, strobe lights, freeze frames, and every imaginable camera trick in the book. It's truly an experimental audio-visual experience disguised as a grindhouse genre film.
I think I couldn't have put it better myself. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. That's a good boilerplate kind of Wikipedia
Yeah.
entry,
Yeah.
Grindopedia entry.
Yeah.
Um,
All right, but let me kick this off to you, because obviously this is your birthday. It's your movie.
Right. Okay.
But typically with birthday movies, there's a backstory, there's a personal journey.
Yes.
A Martin Scorsese personal journey through cinema type of background with something like this. So what is your personal journey with BJ Lang?
Okay, well, I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna be indulgent, birthday boy. So it's 1980. It's 1988, I think. And my friend Matt, shout out to Matt. We were into weird films, but I didn't really know. I was so young. We were just kids, kind of high school kids, and we didn't know how to get a handle on all these insane films. I was into it, and I had cult movie books and stuff. But anyway, he had an innovation. He would get Psychotronic magazine from Tower Records. And
Awesome.
he lived in Manhattan. I would hang out with him from Westchester. And he got Psychotronic magazine, and he realized that there's all these weird fly-by-night mail order companies in the late 80s.
Right.
And one was called Cape Copy Center. Now, the thing about Cape Copy Center is that it had such an uncool name, because all the other names back then, were still cool and duded out, like Video Wasteland.
Right. And this is
Video Ooze. That was a company.
Sinister.
Yeah.
Well, is this advertisements in the back of Psychotronic?
Yeah, well, let me explain.
Like classified.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So this guy, Don Metz, Jesus, it had Cape Copy Center, which was so uncool sounding, and everyone else had things like skulls and severed heads being held by the hair, for their in the back of the magazine ads.
Masthead logo.
Yeah, right. Yeah. For Video Search Miami and stuff. It was all cool, but this guy just had typewriter text in nonstop text. Each line would just roll into the other.
Oh, right.
And so anyway, get to the point. So my friend Matt was like, oh, okay. He's a pretty sharp guy. And he was like, this is looking interesting.
Right.
This guy's on some other shit. And this is still the 80s.
Right.
So he grabbed what he thought looked interesting, BJ Lang Presents, because Don Metz of Cape Copy Center was like, this is crazy shit. But I swear, if I had seen that title or even the video at a video store, I'd been like, I don't know, whatever.
Just real quick, just to hold on, back up for the audience, just to contextualize. I mean, at this time, 1988, this is what you guys are doing. I mean, you're acquiring movies like this through the backs of these catalogs and deep diving.
No, he started. I didn't even know. I didn't even know that was a thing. And and the beauty is that he was he just went and did it. He got a Psychotronic and he went, wait a minute, these crazy people are selling fly by night VHS dubs, and this guy looks real interesting. Cape Copy Center.
And this is you being ahead, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I had the cult movie book, Encyclopedia Psychotronica.
Right, okay.
I was a real novice, and he was too. It's just he did this other layer depth, of depth, and I was like, oh, I like this. So anyway, he got 6 movies, right, from Don Metz of Cape Copy Center.
Okay.
So I roll over his house because I would just crash at his place in the West Side, and he's just like, I got this one, BJ Lang Presents, and I was like, I don't know. Okay, BJ Lang Presents.
Yeah,
yeah, sure. All right, whatever. Because we were looking at the Worm Eaters or Schoolgirls in Chains. And I was like, okay. The titles were adding up in my mind. So anyway, I'll get to the point. He puts on BJ Lang Presents, and he doesn't know either. He I just got them, he was saying. He's like, let's take a look. He got 6 of the tapes. And we're both and I remember the first moment that's big for us, because we were just curious. Actually, my friend was Matt was like, I like the slow motion rain and the moody music.
Yeah.
In the very beginning with the credits.
But then we
both looked at each other like we're on a fucking roller coaster ride. We were like, oh, when that scene comes on and he's going, Chattanooga Choo-Choo.
Chattanooga Choo-Choo! Just a tribal despair!
And he starts screaming and he runs out of his chair. And there's a naked middle-aged couple in white body paint.
Yes.
Strobe lights on everything. Strangers, flash cuts of grotesque faces, and loud, aggressive synthesizer music. All right. And we really looked at each other like, whoa, like Weird Science guys or something.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And we were just like, holy shit. So then we watched and we were like, wow, in all kinds of ways.
Wow.
And we'll talk about it. But then I remember, this is me. This is he was like, yeah, it was fucking dope. But the next day I crashed his house and I woke up and I woke up before him And I had put it on again. It was like, you know, like 10 a.m. And I was like,
Oh, man.
I just want to check this out again, man. Like, what? I want that feeling again. And he's like, yeah, it was cool. It was good, you know, and he loves it. But it was just like, I was like, again, you know, because I was so haunted by it. We were really stoned, of course, too. So anyway, that's the beginning. And so I don't really have much to say. It's just like, it was very mysterious for me. And, you know, it's a very obscure film. It was called The Manipulator on VHS, and that's what he got a bootleg of. So I have one anecdote for. Well, I would always proselytize to you guys, for the show, to everybody I know whose ahead was like, fuck with this movie.
Yeah.
It's
Buddy
one of
G-
the first movies you mentioned to me.
Right. Buddy G.
Oh, really?
You know, I was like, fuck with this movie, right when Mickey Rooney died. Anyway, I have one anecdote, and then I'll move on about how it's been webbing through my life.
Okay.
So a few years later, me, Matt, and this other bunch of crazy friends of mine were looking through the weekly paper. I was in San Francisco at the time, the San Francisco Weekly.
Yeah.
And we're just going through it like, what are we going to do? What's going on? Band's playing. And we go, Mickey Rooney is at this bookstore, yo.
Oh,
like BJ Lang's
shit.
at this bookstore. And we're
BJ
like,
Lang.
where is it? It's like, oh, that's down well, when is it? It's like, oh, it's today. Oh, it's right now. But it's like, it would have taken too long and we wouldn't have probably made it. So we're like, this happened. This is reality, what I'm about to say. I call up Booksmith on Haight Street
Nice, of course.
and I go, I don't know what I was thinking. We're all stoned. I was stoned 100% back then. So it's like, hey, and I took on an accent like, hey there, is Mickey still there? And this very nice woman at the, you know, worker there, she was like, oh yeah, Mr. Rooney's still here. Yeah, it's been great to have him. And it's like, man alive, you tell him that this is his old friend from Nevada City, and I was hoping to make it out, drive over and say hi. I put on more of an accent, like, come on now. Mickey Rooney, darn it, I missed him. Well, I'll have to see him again around the bend in Palm Springs or something. I was making up all this bullshit.
Oh my
you know, and she was like,
God.
okay. And I was like, you know what though? Just tell him, I said hi. Just tell him BJ Lang said, hey, buddy. And she's like, and she's going like, okay, hold on. BJ Lang says hi. And I'm going to absolutely give it to him. He's right over here.
Oh
So,
my
anyway.
God. So you fucked,
I think
you fucked with Mickey Rooney?
Yeah, I did. I trolled Mickey Rooney.
Oh my God.
It's like 92 or something like that, 1992.
Oh.
So you're welcome for that one. That is a thing that existed on planet
Oh
Earth.
my God. So Marcus,
Yeah.
so, you know, obviously going back with Tom, you know, on this is a movie that he shared with you. He actually, this was, you know, I'd only recently heard about BJ Lang Presents. I think while we were doing another show
During the cast times.
We're just doing a 1 fucking hour episode, and you dropped BJ Lang Presents. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Oh wow.
And then you have a personal history with it with him.
Yeah, not a very deep one, but it was an early one that Tom mentioned to me. And I think
Yeah.
when I met him, you know, I knew he's a super head on movies, and I like obscure stuff, but like it's just no competing with this guy. So.
No, not at all.
You know, so it's one of the first movies he recommended to me. You know, like
I don't
if you
remember
go,
this at all.
you know, like I don't know, I'm just into like whatever weirdo cinema. But he's like, go check. He's like, oh, you want to see something weird? Check out BJ Lang Presents.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, the good stuff.
right,
you
right,
know?
right. I got the inside track
Right.
on the realness.
Right. So I went home and watched it, and I was like, what the?
Yeah, it's
like,
pretty. I don't know if we're even emphasizing enough. Like,
We'll
Yeah.
get there.
well, I mean, we're definitely gonna
I
get
mean-
there, guys. Just hold on, like everybody strap in, you know, because we're gonna get into, you know, because odds are you've never seen it,
Right.
but we're really gonna get into the nitty gritty on what makes this movie fucking insane. But Marcus, continue.
yeah, I don't know if I appreciate it more this time watching it through. The first time, Tom, there's interesting set pieces, but the first time I watched, all I could see was like bad TV lighting. You know, sort of a
TV movie.
TV movie lighting.
Yeah,
Yeah, sort of a putrid yellows and browns. It's like there's like
Yeah.
two tones in the movie.
So what's the problem?
and and Mickey Rooney soliloquy for
Like 10
for an
minutes?
hour
With the
Right.
bits of Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yeah,
Right,
with
right.
the big
It's like
nose.
15-minute chunks of him
And
soliloquy.
the problem was, all right.
But
Yeah, so I couldn't see past it that time. And so yeah, I realized I was not cool enough for BJ Lang the first time.
The first
ready.
time.
Yeah.
yeah,
You weren't
But
ready.
you know, now I'm a little bit older, a little wiser.
yeah.
And I found more of appreciation for it.
Can I say
You identify more with BJ now. Right?
well, but so for me, it's like I'm watching this for the first time a few days ago.
That's so interesting.
Okay, I don't know.
You never
what
saw BJ Lang before?
No.
He's saying like he never even heard of
I
it.
never even heard of it. I have no idea what this is.
funny.
You know, like this is
God damn.
no
Oh, you've
concept.
heard of the manipulator.
No.
No. That means it really is that obscure.
No, it's I've
Wow.
never heard of this movie at
Okay.
all. And so I'm watching this, and just for quick context, I was with some friends 2 nights ago. One person was gearing up to write an article about this new film coming out called Skinamarink. I don't know if you've heard of this, which is a low-budget hard art film that's now being like embraced by the zeitgeist for some reason and made almost $2 million at the box office. It just makes no sense at all. It's just one of these random things that's really catching steam. So we watched that movie, which is like,
You watched that.
yeah,
first.
well, we watched. Yeah, so it's like super Maya Deren, Stan Brakhage inspired hard art experimental filmmaking, right? And I mean, it had moments, but it was also like, okay, where's the fast forward button a little bit, just a little bit, and then we're like, well, I got this other thing, guys. If you want to check out this other thing, and so we put on as a double bill.
Wow.
BJ Lang Presents, and then we all turn to each other. And I mean, just so the context of like coming off of a hard experimental film, going into this movie, which really plays like an experimental film.
BJ Lang, yeah.
Yes, BJ Lang does.
Absolutely.
And then we're just like, oh, fuck yeah.
Really?
Because,
Okay.
because
High
the first-
fives.
Well, yeah.
Were you, on the,
yeah.
you were on the roller coaster.
Yeah, no, we were.
Whoa.
Because the first 10 minutes
That
is-
literally happened.
yeah.
But we looked at each other.
But the first 10 minutes really delivers with like crazy
Yeah,
shit, the crazy cutting, and you're like, what is this? And
Yeah.
like there's a woman tied to a
Disorienting,
chair and
yeah.
screaming, and of course there's awesome synthesizer
It's great.
soundtrack, which I'm sure we'll talk
We'll get
about.
into it. Gil Melle of
Shout
who had
out.
done a dramatist train right then.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
shout out. The score, everything. So it just was like we were in the perfect headspace.
That's great. That's good to
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Were you guys weeded out or?
A little
You don't
weird.
have to.
No, we were.
But I
little
think
weeded
it goes well
The
with BJ
context
Lang.
of when you watch the film does matter, I think.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that happened for you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Like you can't get it on Redbox and bring it home
Red Bucks.
and watch.
You got a little. I'm glad you got a little on the roller coaster.
Yeah, we
on that.
did. We
That's
did.
killer.
For sure. So anyway,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's cut to the quick here about like what is this film? So
what the hell is-
I have an opening sort of like chunk, as I call it, about like I guess I always wind up doing this larger cultural context bullshit. But I'm what I'm saying is I associate it with I'll make it like there's a parallel example of the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Sure.
And I'll set that up and then get into why I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
So Chubby Checker.
That's where we're starting.
Wait,
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
his acid album?
Yeah, hold on, Jesus. So Chubby Checker is known for the twist, like let's twist again, like we did last summer. So all good, everything's cool. Not unlike sort of like fresh-faced Mickey Rooney making like Andy Hardy movies in the 40s. Like
Right.
everything's fine, everything's nice. Let's have a good time.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Okay, so then Chubby Checker, what's he doing around the time of BJ Lang? He did an album with songs called like Stoned in the Bathroom
Wow.
and Goodbye Victoria, which is like this kind of like big
Whoa.
like Prague statement kind of epic.
Oh, cool.
So he did it's not like like mind-blowingly like it's not like Brain Ticket, that band or something. It's not like not that far.
Sure.
But I'm just saying it is Chubby Checker.
Right.
And he's like stoned in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is like what I've always responded to partly with BJ Lang is like specifically the casting of Mickey Rooney and how like it's an example of a thing where I'm assuming that a lot of middle-aged people at the time were trying to get with it. So
Yeah.
they're not baby boomers and they're like hitting 40 or whatever in the early 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So they're doing they're literally doing all kinds of therapy to like purge their soul. So they're doing like spiritual guidance and est and literally LSD and like getting divorces and stuff like that, and then like doing a lot of intense psychotherapy where like like ego washing, ego breakdown stuff where they're like screaming and crying during the therapy sessions. So that's and so I think the anecdotal, the shorthand for me is always that scene in The Simpsons when Krusty the Clown, they do like a classic reel, of like Krusty moments, and he's singing The Doors like break on through, and he's on his back, he's going like, like that. And then it cuts to Krusty who's watching the reel of his history, on TV, and he goes, "What was I on?"
Right, right.
So
Like not remembering that at all.
yeah.
Generational kind of clash, right? Like the older generation catching up to the younger one.
Well, not even catching up. They're running with it, and they're like in over their heads immediately.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like total like a weird kitschy slice of Americana that goes way wrong. Taking out of that context and into a totally weird acidy.
Well, I think they
70s
have like maybe like if you're 20 and you're
Yeah.
blowing your mind out on acid, you don't have all this baggage. But if you're 40,
Right.
you're like,
Right,
you're
true.
like, and you're like,
Bad trips.
like you're tripping balls. It's like, like you're just going through like layers of like, oh, the first divorce, it's like whatever, I don't know. And like, I hate my my life. I hate my life. Basically, it's a hate my life kind of thing. Other than just like,
Right.
let's watch the sunset.
Right.
So that always amuses
So
me.
why? Yeah. So related to the movie.
Yeah. So well, I mean, so you've got I want to also say another thing. There was a mythology at the time that me and my friend Matt had about this movie. Was we looked at the end credits and we're like, who the fuck made this? Like, what? That's a big question. And you see the director credit and it says Yabo,
Yeah.
Yabo, Yabo Yablonsky. And I immediately went, that is not a real person. That is not a real name. And I went, Mickey Rooney. That is Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney wrote and directed this. This is my theory. Mickey Rooney wrote and directed this under a pseudonym because it seemed so personal. Like I was just saying a minute ago, like I'm screaming at my divorce in a handful of naked people in a group therapy session. And I thought this is all Mickey straight up and down.
Then he would really be BJ Lang, right?
Right. Yeah. No, but I thought like this is not. There's no Yabo Yablonsky because the name sounds retarded.
So weird.
It's like, excuse me, it sounds ridiculous, like Yabo Yablonsky.
Right.
Like that sounds like a weird bad
made up,
name.
yeah.
But plot twist, that is a real person. There is a director named Yabo Yablonsky. He passed away. He made a bunch of other movies. He did a documentary about Willie Nelson in the mid-70s. He's a real dude.
Right.
And so that's not Mickey Rooney. So
So that's weird.
but back to the point, I'm sure, and I have wondered this, what level was Mickey Rooney influencing the project? Because it's weird to think he isn't running the show.
He
because
has to be a huge
Yeah,
part.
he must be a huge part of it. Yeah, exactly. Because the life of this thing is it was a short story written by some hack actor, and then it was taken over by Yabo Yablonsky, who wrote and directed it. But then Mickey Rooney came in, and I wonder if they considered anybody else for casting.
Right.
I don't know. There's very mysterious still. People don't have any information on this film. Everybody's dead.
Right.
Who's involved.
Right. Exactly. It really does feel like something that's completely just like materialized into existence, at least for me. Like where is this coming from? What the fuck is this? So basically this movie plot wise is pretty simple. I mean, I outlined it at the top of the show, but you basically, it doesn't give you any sort of
backstory,
orientation or backstory.
Yeah, I thought about that today.
Of how these two characters in this movie are in this situation. So let me just explain it for the good folks at home. So basically, you mentioned the opening scene with the rain, which is awesome. And you have this, Mickey Rooney is walking in the slow motion rain. He goes into this alleyway, then he gets into a freight elevator, and the freight elevator takes him up to this giant studio warehouse room where all these dusty old props are everywhere.
Culver City kind of place.
Yes, exactly. And then we find that there's a woman who he's tied to a chair, and you sort of don't know what his deal is. Is he like really because he's pontificating that he's a famous director getting ready to make his next like big opus or something, right? That's the idea. But
He's shouting directions at mannequins.
Right, exactly.
He's like, let's move stage left, move the key lights over here, and then it cuts to a mannequin in the movie just going like,
but
it's that kind of movie.
but like you don't know if he is really anybody like in Hollywood.
I was thinking,
is he a Sunset Boulevard?
Well, that's the thing. The notes for this film are often Sunset Boulevard meets The Collector, which was a big film back then. Look it up, maybe mid '60s film about a guy who collects women like butterflies. It feels like a hybrid. My theory has been that he was definitely somebody because he's having sort of Hollywood Babylon nightmare recollection, memories that are coming to him. So I think that he was totally in the business, not unlike Mickey Rooney.
He's got the makeup skills and stuff.
Yeah, and he knows the lingo. He's like,
But it was also kind of like, I also thought, shout out to an episode we did just a few weeks ago, I was like, was this also like a weird Rupert Pupkin scenario? as well too, where he's an aspirational
Who knows?
person who's super demented, and because he obviously went out, kidnapped this woman who he, in his delusional mind, in the state, whatever he's in this acid state he's in with this movie, she's going to be his star in whatever production this is going to be.
Say your lines! Yeah! Come on, say them! Say your lines, you stupid son of a bitch! Say them!
And there's this just constant back and forth and monologues and soliloquies of this. What is it? Cyrano? Is that the idea?
Cyrano de Bergerac.
Yeah. So that's what he's channeling, or
That's what he presents.
Well, yeah, that's what she's the star of his production of Cyrano de Bergerac. Right. Yeah, which was there's film adaptations. Maybe there was a stage production of it originally.
He
Definitely was in the business. He's got the huge prop department, and he's got all the costumes.
Right.
He's got the sticks. It's a nice pair.
There's everything.
He's got a nice set of sticks there for the camera.
Yeah, and all the lights. He's got big fat like Klieg lights and stuff like that. So, but the thing is, in a way, I'd like to just say but
we're not given anything in this movie ever of what the situation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, there's the plot, which is very skeletal and very sort of like a almost.
It's kind of like it goes like, whoa, crazy, insane, fucking trippy dream, fever dream, overload, long monologue. Crazy, fucked up, insane, hacked up
set pieces.
And there's like 6 set pieces or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I just maybe get in the weeds. I had one note, like, for anybody because the thing is, this film starts strong, roller coaster, and then like there is a drop off because it does slow down, which I still find somewhat compelling, where he's just like being very pretentious and kind of like performing in a weird way to her, ironically, his performer, about, and I think the film is less pretentious than the character's pretentious, but it does calm down, quote unquote. Yeah. But then I would always say to people, like, right around the corner, something very fucked up is coming. Yes. And you'll be like, ouch, you know, and it actually accelerates and accumulates as it goes on. The second half of the film is almost all insanity, so to speak, like hard insanity.
Oh yeah, totally.
And we're not, and let's maybe talk about it more for a second. Like, I think I just rewatched it today again. I haven't seen it in years. But what I really responded to was, like, okay, it's kind of campy. There's like this really huge scenery chewing hammy performance by Mickey Rooney, and that definitely, and that's sort of fun. But I also feel like he's doing a pretty good performance. But the thing that got me was the film is great as far as technique, and what I was thinking of, it's very considered, and there's lots of killer choices. And I was mentioning this before, but like the way the party unfolds is a party dream sequence.
Yeah, it's like a Satyricon-esque overload.
Yeah.
Like indulgent.
Because the thing is, it's a movie with basically 2 people, but suddenly the setting is full of tons of people, and they all look like really crazy freaks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who are these people? There's no one in the credits on IMDb, for this party sequence. But anyway, all I'm saying is like the technique, and then I'll open it up to you guys. It's just like
it's your birthday.
It's like unfolding very subtly. I was really paying attention to the choices and especially the sound design.
Oh yeah,
is like really baller.
Yeah,
and then and then the editing is really wild, but it's all still considered. And they're building a mood where it's like there's rising synthesizer, like, and then there'd be whispering, like what, and then cutaways to like random strangers' faces, and it's like it's all very considered. They weren't just like goofing around and like, that looks weird, throw in the strobe light and go blah. Yeah. It's like not storyboarded exactly, but it's very much considered.
Yeah,
and I was really appreciating that there's a method to the madness, and there's some serious technique going on.
It's cool, wide angle lens too, in that.
Absolutely,
that makes it feel like
absolutely
just like totally what the fuck. It feels like drugs. It
also
feels
the
like
shot cuts,
movies on drugs.
And I'll up to you guys, but like the shot cuts, just for example, would be like a mannequin horse, like through like a fisheye lens, like for like half a second, with the corresponding synth, like it's like that kind of movie, like, and out of nowhere, and it has nothing to do with anything,
right?
But it adds to the mood of it all,
right? I guess it's like foreshadowing or something when it cuts it all. It's got tons of taxidermy in this movie, but yeah, all those little shot cuts are like foreshadowing of the acid that's going to happen. It's weird. I don't understand like what the intended market, what was the intention of the filmmaker? Like, did he expect this to be like an art. It kind of sits in a weird world where it's
Yeah,
not
I
quite an
know.
art house film.
I know.
But it's got this big Hollywood actor.
I know.
So it's like, did they expect it to be a hit, or did they want? I mean, this is what did they want from this movie?
Can I add to the confusion about this film?
Sure.
Is like I didn't know until the past few years with the innovation of like newspapers.com, like microfiche film.
Oh yeah.
Winding up, like you can just look at it online,
Sure.
which is, only in the past few years you could do that.
Yeah.
And so me and a bunch of people who were obsessed with this film looked it up, and it played only really ever in a double feature with a film called The Cult, which is a Manson family film.
Oh,
So
weird.
So think about what the distributor's thinking of BJ Lang Presents.
Right.
It's like
Grindhouse.
this right here. This would be perfect with The Cult, and then the Manson girls and Charles
Yeah.
Manson like killing people, and it's like, okay, like
No.
sure. I mean, yeah, in a way, okay. But you're right. It's like it never was an art house thing. It is sort of a pop thing. But there's one other thing I did just recently, because this was very mysterious to me, and it's still mysterious. But like I looked up the crew, and the crew, like people were involved in like an uncredited Easy Rider editor was the editor of the film.
Well, she's from Easy Rider.
Right, Luana Anders.
Yeah, the actress. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like all these people, a lot of people were in experimental sort of underground circles who made the film, but also documentary people. And so anyway, it's a very long hair kind of behind the scenes project.
Yeah.
But then it does have this like failed old pop star, but it never wound up connecting with long hairs. It's funny. I always think, hey, like what would crazy hippies have thought back then? They would have maybe been like far out, man, but they probably never had a chance because it was marketed as exploitation. Art house people never ever got a chance to even consider it.
Well, you know what it feels like? It really feels like at its inception, it would appeal more to like an off Broadway
Yes.
avant crowd who would appreciate probably the like a 2-person play of that.
Theater of cruelty,
Right, yes.
of the latter 20th century.
Totally. But like that crew like got together with some experimental film crew.
Right.
And they mishmashed ideas.
That's pretty much what happened.
That's probably what it is.
But you're talking about like who is this for? And
yeah.
like LSD hippie freaks didn't see it. My headline is about that just little thing is just like the most LSD movie ever stars Mickey Rooney. And I'll stand by that.
No, it is. Well, go ahead.
I think that the audience probably wasn't considered in a way. Like
No.
it's this project
It's a project.
the director. He believes in it passionately.
Yeah.
You mentioned off Broadway. We were looking this up earlier, and Tom, I'm sure knows this as well. But like there actually was a play
Yeah.
of this, and that kicked off in the late
Well, they
80s,
tried
right?
Well, no, it happened in 1986. I think Yabo thought, hey, this has got legs in the theater world, and they did a theater adaptation in 1986 here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I have that.
Holy shit!
Here's a little note.
And then later, like a decade later, they did it again. They tried another
Like
adaptation.
the 2010s,
believe
and
that?
they were
Really?
still putting
Maybe
it on.
we should.
I think we should do it.
Maybe
I think that's what
you
we're
could do
getting
it.
at.
You could be BJ.
Well, I think like
maybe.
the end,
I'm good enemy.
like when there's like she stands up and there's like clapping,
Yeah.
I think that's what he thought was going to happen. Like I think that he
Ooh.
thought the director, in a way, he is BJ Lang because he's outside of the system.
Yeah.
He believes in this project. Nobody else does. He's trying to force it on everybody. He can
That's a
only
good
get,
point.
3 other people to get involved in it.
Right.
Right.
And then I think at the end, he thought everyone was going to like stand up and clap for him.
Well, it is, I will say, defend him. The thinking of that is it is very bold, as we're saying, like, and again, I mean, okay, the sound is incredible, the sound design, but then also the score. We were talking earlier, Gil Melle, who had just right then done Andromeda Strain, which is like a very fundamental founding kind of synth score for movies. The soundtrack came out, and this is like the next thing he did was BJ Lang Presents, and it's an outstanding score. Well, it's not just hardcore prog rock synthesizer. It's also like really nice, spooky, moody jazz.
Well, it has like a quality.
It has a theme. There's a whole world in the score. There's a whole full score.
I was thinking like I don't know, like a Kraftwerk sort of vibe, with like the you know, like because like that sort of sound just comes out of nowhere, like when he's flipping out right in that first 10 minutes or whatever. It's incredible. Like, oh, this is what we're getting in store for.
Right. I know what you're talking about.
It's early.
The sped up slapstick.
Oh yeah,
which is actually also the last thing you see in the film.
Yeah.
Like this film is very prankster. The credits happen, and the last thing they're like, "Hey, fuck you, people who watch this movie." Like, you know what you're going to look at is Mickey again with hardcore fast synthesizer and him doing sped up mimicky goofiness with a broom. And then it's like, "Fuck you," the movie's over. It's like what? Also, the slate. There's a slate that BJ Lang has in the film,
right?
And it says like, you know, on the slate, scene 666.
Yeah, of course.
Like it's a lot of prankstery thing, and I feel like there's long-haired freaks who are behind the camera,
right?
And in post.
Yeah, on IMDb it says wheelchair courtesy Frank Zappa, uncredited.
Well, no, okay, so I looked this up, right?
Does it really say that?
Yeah, well, there's this thing. Well, it just totally does not work because the film came out like the same month that he got injured and wound up in a wheelchair.
Who?
December 1971.
Zappa?
There's a rumor, I don't know where it started. It's a little bit online where it says that the wheelchair used in BJ Lang Presents with the actresses in was like, oh, that's, you know, like they got that after Frank Zappa didn't need it. He used to run around in it. And I'm like, okay. And then I looked it up tonight and it's like in December 1971, he gets injured in London. And then he gets in the wheelchair. And then the film came out in December in New York with The Cult. So that
is the most random misinformation
I know.
ever
I love
spread
BJ
online.
math. You did some BJ math.
Yeah, and where did that even come from?
Right.
You know, yeah.
If I can, just real quick, I wanted to circle back to we were talking about how they were going to reboot BJ Lang Presents as a theatrical production in the 80s. I just had a quick note that's paired with that, like a little trivia on BJ Lang Presents, which is, in a 1970 Baltimore Sun interview, Rooney mentioned the recently lensed BJ Lang Presents. So this is, I just filmed it. I've been in a lot of stinky pictures and some that were not so bad, but this is the best picture I've ever made.
This is my best work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Which is awesome.
Which might be true.
Yeah.
Because in defense of the film and of Mickey, it's a powerhouse performance. And I was watching it today thinking, how is he? Like just taking a step back, objectively.
How is he?
Yeah, like what do we got here? Because he's very hammy and he's going crazy, but it's a remarkable performance in a way if you just, you know, are kind and generous to him. It's like he exhibits every emotion possible. You know, and I think that he really put his heart and soul as an actor into it. Sure, and he gave everything he had and then some. Yeah, and so I don't know. Kudos to him. Yeah, you know? And it's very fearless. You know, sure, and it's like it's very hard to be so vulnerable and to put yourself. He went to the edge and fell off.
The director put a lot on him. He has to carry the whole movie. The woman he's acting against doesn't give him that much to go on. Plus, he has to be silent a lot of the time. Yeah, well, so he does. Yeah. He has a lot of responsibility, and he does a decent job. Okay, it's a little over the top. I don't think he's the problem, even though his performance can be perceived as being over the top. Certainly, yeah. But part of it, I think, is just the choice to like have those long monologues, and the dialogue itself is like so forgettable. Like I can't even think of what he's saying for most of it. So it's just kind of like psychobabble. So it's not really his fault. He's giving it his all.
Well, it's very arched, like a kind of experimental theater kind of. It's not film dialogue. It's not realistic dialogue. They're not talking to each other. It's like statements are made. Yeah. You know,
and he's probably improvising some of it too, because he's all of a sudden going to the Chattanooga Choo Choo, 2029.
Maybe screaming.
Let's just because we got
improv screaming.
We got about.
I know there's that.
Just because we got about 25 minutes left on the clock.
God.
I know. Here we go.
I know.
I think it's a good time to start getting into just some of the set pieces. I agree. Because there's some fucking.
There's some doozies. Let's ride to the sunset with that.
Okay, can I start with one? Because it is kind of like we've talked about the first 10 minutes being pretty killer, as far as like just a weird cultural curio, AV experimental, what the fuck. But the scene I think where you're really like for the first time, what the
I know what you're gonna say.
You know what I'm saying, right? Like this is holy shit.
Same here.
Is a hardcore reveal. So you kind of once you were with the female character, what's her name? Carlotta, yeah. So once you're kind of with her, you kind of understand, okay, there's this woman tied to this chair, what's going on? But like BJ's nowhere to be seen. It's like shadows and atmosphere, what's going on? Where is he? And all of a sudden, boom, he fucking appears in like half drag
Hello.
makeup. And you're just
Yeah.
like, oh,
Well,
this
it's
is what
like
we're getting into.
hard rouge,
Yeah.
eyeshadow,
Yeah.
big lipstick, like beauty mark, and he's telling, and it's a long scene that is almost exclusively a close up of middle-aged, sweaty, matted, stringy hair,
Sweaty.
unkempt beard, Mickey Rooney, in full garish, like, boop boopy doop makeup, and just talking for like, it's like 10 minutes, or it feels like it. And he's like, what he's doing is he's channeling that he was a big makeup artist
Right. This character.
in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at one point he even says like, Marilyn said, Daddy. Sorry. No, but he's like, at one point in the film, line of dialogue is like, Marilyn once said, those aren't my eyes, as he's making up her eyes. Those are our eyes when I'm out there.
He was like a makeup guy in Hollywood.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe BJ Lang is a makeup guy,
Yeah.
and then he dreamed to be,
A director?
yeah. And like,
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know, but that scene,
It rips in its own.
Yeah.
It's like the weird, creepy ballad of the prog album.
right.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
it's like
gets a little
it's
Peter Gabriel around
well, it's
there.
very No, but I just mean it's like it's got a quiet,
Yeah.
like aggressive insanity.
Sure.
Unlike the rest of the movie, which is screaming and strobes and like a slaughterhouse,
Yeah.
and concertos and
Yeah.
strobes.
One thing that's unfair this movie has to deal with is that the way it has to live off of a VHS transfer.
I
I know, you're talking about
it needs
that.
to be a Blu-ray.
Like,
I know.
someone needs to restore it because it's like I'm
colors.
sure they shot it in a wider frame, right?
Right off the bat,
And
yeah.
so
God.
the colors and because it probably could be considered an art house classic.
I know.
Sure.
In a way.
Well, what's
I mean,
a
like,
hint is the trailer exists. Like
Oh,
there's
yeah,
there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
nice transfer
Oh, yeah.
of there's a Blu-ray trailer comp.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
they put it out. It's on YouTube,
Oh,
but
shit.
it does give you a hint at how good it can look.
Wow.
It looks pretty dope.
Yeah, because I mean, like, there's problems like Ganja and Hess, right? That movie had some major problems, but it's ascended to another level. This movie probably
Yeah.
has some
Shout out to
potential.
another one fucking hour episode. Gone
Amen.
in the
Well,
archives.
we're picking set pieces. So Marilyn's eyes. No, but I'm saying maybe Marcus, do you have a pet scene?
Well, I think the best scene of the movie is the slaughterhouse.
Let's get into it.
Or the meat packing.
You
yeah,
mean
that
the
fucked me up, actually.
well, you mean the concerto meets meatpacking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is classic.
Can I say one thing?
Sure.
Like just to preface it,
It's your birthday.
is right, birthday boy, is the beauty of filmmaking is this. There was a moment on planet Earth where a bunch of guys who work at a meat packing plant have to talk to these guys doing cellos and violins and concerto and going, "Hey buddy, what's going on? What are we doing here at 9 in the morning?" And the guy's like, I have no fucking idea. Like just guys, just slap the meat around and I'll just play the fiddle here. And it's like that happened.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
on
Amazing.
film and it's in this movie
Yeah.
where there's a concerto
Yeah.
playing amongst sides of beef like in Rocky.
Yeah, which is amazing.
It is like a music video predecessor. or
Absolutely.
something, you know?
Absolutely.
And it reminds me of those promo films like the Beatles did or something like when
Sure.
the Day in the Life promo film
Absolutely.
and has that wide
Absolutely.
angle. People can share,
Absolutely.
orchestra people wearing costumes, looking freaky.
Totally.
But then it's got all of those sides of beef. And I love how it kind of comes from a filmmaking perspective, the way they blended those two worlds really worked. The sort of studio that he lives in, the warehouse that he lives in. And they obviously had to go to a meatpacking plant or something to shoot that stuff. And it does blend really seamlessly because you're like, all of a sudden she's running through this
the
hallway
meat,
of beef.
Well, remember, it's like she's trying to escape and she's going through the wardrobe department. And so the sides of beef are representing her going through the different costumes and outfits.
But
Because
right
it-
after the guy's been killed.
Yeah, right. Because it cross cuts, and the sides of beef are because she just witnessed
So
the old Charlie getting stabbed with the sword.
Third cast member.
Right. They're like hi, dead.
Yeah, there's like a wandering.
And they all look so unhealthy. He comes out and he's like, and it's Keenan Wynn, who's another old, like a Columbo hack kind of actor. And he looks like shit.
Yeah, yeah.
He looks like he hasn't slept a day.
We should explain for the people that basically, it's a pretty much a two-person story as
Yeah.
we've mentioned over and over again. But there is kind of one wandering, weird, drunk possibly homeless person.
Right, named Old Charlie.
That's lurking in this
I'm just Old
warehouse.
Charlie, and he's
And then-
he's crashing in the wardrobe
Right,
department.
right.
You're a dead canary. I.
And then it gets into this crazy meat scene.
Yeah.
But I have to say, like, when I saw this, I was like, how did they do that? Was this a blue screen thing or whatever? And maybe because it's the transfer of the video.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, no shit, they really fucking went there and did it. And it really does feel like some sort of Eastern European, almost like crazy weird or like airball scene, like you'd see like an
Absolutely.
airball film.
It's really classic. I'm glad you mentioned that. It's
Right?
classic surrealism.
Classic.
It's like on Shannon Andalou level.
Yes.
But it's on Shannon Andalou,
Yeah.
but with like 1971 film stock.
right.
And like Prague album cover, like suitable for framing kind of
Yeah,
look.
Yeah.
And so
It definitely.
It's like
And
black
really-
box theater or something, you know.
Which-
It's almost like a black box theater that the whole world takes place.
Yeah,
in,
of
where
course.
it's like
Yeah.
the background just falls off into black,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
yeah,
Just-
yeah.
Totally.
It's pretty cool. Actually.
Well, just can I actually let's walk in a weird way. It's fun to explain how outrageous these set pieces are by kind of walking through and explaining. So, like, what you get is her going with killer fisheye lens photography. Her going through a hallway.
Oh, that's the best.
and it's such a great shot of her like mysteriously going through
In
like,
slow
this
motion.
endless hallway. Of course, almost everything's in slow motion.
in slow motion.
But then so then that happens and she's running through the meat and it's all like crazy scattering, punk rock, quick cuts. And then it kind of calms down and she finds, quote unquote,
Yeah.
the meat packing guys who are by the sides of beef, who are amongst literally it's a concerto, like dressed up, like they're doing the Philharmonic. And they're like, no, you don't hear them.
Yeah.
And you see her and she starts dancing. And like at
God.
first it's sort of lyrical, like, yeah, da, 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 da. You hear it. It's not what they're playing, but you hear it. And she's dancing and she has this very drugged out, blank, dead-eyed, like what is it? Like, what is that? Like 30-yard
Stare.
Oh,
stare.
yeah,
And
yeah.
she's just staring blankly and
Yeah,
dancing in her
yeah.
dress. But then the music
Thousand
changes to like that kind of percussive Moog synthesizer.
Yeah, I love
like,
that.
Yeah. And you're like, and it goes on. Here's the other thing. All these go on for a really long, they're not like accents. This is the film. Like, it's not like,
Yeah.
like there's that crazy 28 seconds. It's like,
No.
this is 4 minutes.
Yeah, it becomes kind of
And
transcendental.
and then it ends with solarization where they invert the
Oh,
color.
I was going to mention that.
Oh, right,
Yeah, the solarization little accents are very nice.
Baller.
She gets
Yeah.
under the spell and starts dancing and participating in that scene.
Oh,
and
because
it's
she
like-
runs into the concerto and the meatpacking.
right. I was thinking, like,
Who wouldn't start dancing
thinking
when you
she's
see a concerto in the meatpacking district? Meatpacking.
Yeah,
I was thinking
yard.
it's supposed to be that she's traumatized, she's starving to death, right? And so she's like,
Carla?
Oh,
we're seeing the outward version of her inner hallucination.
She
brought
is.
on by all
She
that.
is has either always been as insane as BJ, or BJ has turned her
insane.
Yeah.
True, and that's
she's a lost cause.
We should explain that as well too, because that's another thing. There's a good portion where a lot of her dialogue is just,
I'm hungry! Mr. Lang!
BJ, I need food.
Mr. Lang.
Oh, Mr. Lang, yeah.
yeah. I'm hungry, Mr. Lang.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Well, quick shout out to Luana Anders though. So
Sure,
I'll
but
keep
I got a
this
scene
brief.
I got to get in.
Luana Anders, yeah, I got a scene too, bruh. You know, so okay, so Luana Anders, big shouts to her. I never knew her when I first saw the film, and then slowly you start seeing her. She's in The Trip.
Yeah.
She's in Night Tide with Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
She's an Easy Rider. You know, and so you realize over time, or I did, that she's one of those really cool people from Hollywood. That
Totally.
In the early '60s,
Yeah.
these people were doing the late '60s.
Yes.
And it's Jack Nicholson and it's
Right,
Dennis
right.
Hopper and it's
Yeah.
all those guys. And she was like one of the big females in that scene. And so like she looks like she was really tight with Jack Nicholson. She's in like the two Jakes.
Well, can I
You know,
say I
even-
know this because
Yeah.
she helped to discover or helped, get, bring people together in this kind of emerging new Hollywood that was happening. And she actually is credited, I guess, as convincing an unknown Jack Nicholson to join her improv acting classes.
Wow.
So there might not be the Jack Nicholson we know today if it
Without
weren't
Luana
for
Anders.
this chance sort of meeting between
Well,
the two.
shout out to her. It's a really, that's another brave performance.
Yeah.
And my moment with Luana Anders is something maybe that's the most ill thing I've ever seen in the most ill movie I've ever seen. This film is it's a woman who's gesturing with her lips like this to a small spoon of baby food.
I know.
Because he's got it in front of her mouth, but it's just out of reach of her mouth. She's going, and it's like, I think that's when my brain broke. I was like, what am I watching? It's like, you know, like it's like grotesque and it is very surrealism. It's you know, it's Arabal level.
That's
It
what I
really
said.
is.
Yeah.
Like you're saying. Yeah.
I think the movie's supposed to, it's trying to make you feel how he's torturing her.
I think the film, and this is my note, I think the film its whole intention is to make you go insane.
Yeah.
It's like a virus spreading. He's insane. Then she's insane.
Yeah.
Then you're insane. You know, like, right?
Right. Yeah.
Man, that way
Fuck
it's
yeah.
very effective.
Can I do a set piece?
Yes, you can. Then the only
Yeah, please. You want a Luana?
well, no,
button?
I think maybe it's the same one. I don't know. I think we have to talk about. Is it the same one? Now
Well,
I'm
let's hear it.
confused.
Mr. Lang.
Well, no, the one about where he's chasing her with the.
Oh, Jesus. I timed it. It's about 5 minutes.
Okay, so this
Go
is
for it. Go
Feels
for it.
about twice that long.
Okay, it's all in slow motion, and it kind of.
I mean, when you say slow motion,
Oh,
you
yeah.
mean like,
frames are ticking off.
oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, it is. It's very.
It's
slow.
like walking on the moon.
Yeah,
Slow motion.
yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah, it's really slow.
oh.
But it does remind me of.
Like if you didn't play it back in slow motion, that sequence would be 12 seconds.
Yes, exactly.
But it's 5 minutes.
Exactly. There you go. That's a good way to think about it. But it does remind me of shout out to previous One Fucking Hour episode, Sledgehammer, a little bit.
Ah, yeah.
Doesn't it?
Mm,
Of course. Yeah.
absolutely.
It's definitely, if you're into the episode we did on Sledgehammer, you definitely be into this movie because, again, it's another movie that sort of is an accidental, maybe not as Sledgehammer's more accidental art than this obviously is, but it falls in the same kind of category. And this one particular scene of him chasing her with like a, what do you call that? Like a
Rapier?
like a rapier. That's right. Yeah. Chasing
Because
her.
he's Cyrano.
Right. Of course. He's chasing her with a rapier.
And he's wearing, by the way, for
yeah.
90% of the time in the film, he's wearing a Cyrano big nose.
I know.
And he never takes it off. It's not in the beginning, but then the rest of the film, he puts it on once and it's
And
on the
it's-
whole
yeah.
time. The rest of the film, he's
Always.
killing, he's getting murdered, he's dying, he's, you know, like chasing, and he's wearing like
Yeah, I know.
grotesque, absurd looking nose.
That's tough.
Let's not forget that.
That's
But yes, so
Yeah.
the chase.
Yeah, so then there's this crazy slow motion chase, and that's to me the most trippy hard.
I agree with you.
of the movie.
It's I wrote down some
Yeah.
crazy notes like hardcore, prog rock,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
brain melting. No, but you know what? And also, but
Was there strobe light in that time?
no, not then. Yeah, but the thing is a big shout out because half of it's complimented. It's incredibly hardcore slow motion, and then the music. And this is a real shout out to Gil Melle. What he's doing is he's stabbing like single sour Moog synthesizer notes.
Yeah.
and he's going through like ×1 delay with seriously long tail.
Oh, yeah.
Echoplex or
Yeah,
something.
well, yeah, but I mean like a tail. So it's like, so it'd be like noise, 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 sound, sound, sound. It's that ×1. ×1 is a very trippy
yeah, it is.
pace.
It has a lot of
Yeah, and it
killer
goes-
delay work. In
yeah,
this
exactly.
movie, too.
So the sound. I mean, I made MP3s of all these songs.
Really?
These sound parts. Yeah,
Oh, shit,
absolutely.
share 'em, bro.
Listen to them. You know,
Yeah.
on the drive home. So
Of course you do.
well, okay. I have a set piece.
Okay,
so
go ahead. But that one is guys,
no, it's incredible.
That's a killer
And I felt
moment.
like timing it. Yeah, it's about 5 minutes of your life, and that's the thing because most films. Every other film is sane because it would not do that. Because it would be like, it would get trippy for a minute and it would be like, we're doing like 40 seconds on that really intense
Yeah.
slow Moog thing. But they're like, no, 5 minutes.
Fucking minutes.
Live here.
Yeah.
This is why this exists. This
Yeah.
is what this film is.
Right.
And it's not like something they stretched out for the length for the runtime.
Like to pad it or
was the
anything.
intention.
This is a choice.
It's an artistic statement. Okay,
Go ahead.
we're running out of time. I got a set piece that
11
I feel is I've realized is the heart of the film.
Okay.
Now, earlier I was talking about, like Krusty the Clown is having like an ego death breakdown with acid and psychotherapy. Chubby Checker's not, doing the twist again. He's like, lying on the floor screaming for his mother and crying. And so there's a scene in this film called, The Party.
Right.
So, and it's a great moment. And what's really exciting about it is it's true. The film does open up. You don't just have him and her.
Yeah.
It's suddenly lots of people. And I'm very mystified. I probably will never know. We'll never know who the people were in this party scene. Because there's like over 24 people. And they all look like real wild freakazoid, kind of like groupies, maybe like male prostitutes, weird old ladies.
They're living in the other units of the loft, is what I think. No.
No, don't say that. No.
The other loft dwellers. No, in real life.
Yes, exactly. Well, the thing is, this, like I said, behind this, the camera, there's a lot of freak brothers energy. Yeah, so they're probably all just friends of the crew.
That's what I meant.
So, but anyway, this set piece is really important because it's basically BJ. It's slow motion, and there's sort of moody jazz going on mostly in this section. And there's all these people, and they look really wild, and it looks like a really cool party actually. And like he's going around, and he's like kissing everybody, and he's shorter than everybody, so he looks like weird and pathetic and kind of homunculus and kind of like sweaty and like stringy haired, like love me, it's all these like people at this party, and they're all like all these cool 20-year-old hippies, and he's like, love me, and at one point it just disintegrates into like pure like pure cinema, where he's just he's being hugged by like these dozens of people, and he's in the center, and he's just going pain, and he's screaming, he's crying, he's laughing, he's yelling, he's angry, he's sad, he's happy, and he's going through all the paces of being a human with emotions. In the center of all these people who are supporting him going through his thing. So it is like an ego death, like he's having a second birth thing, and like experimental group therapy.
Yeah.
And
it feels like a sort of ayahuasca or like like a est embrace, like a post.
All of that and more. He's having that. And then the scene's not over though. So that's the heart of it. And I do think this is the soul of the film, this moment. And it ends though, it winds up, because it's another long scene, because it's the point of the film, are these moments, is the party's happening, and he just starts going, love, and he's just screaming to himself, like amongst the tall people, love, and then the thing is, and we were talking about this, is like all these. I love the choices that this film makes, and it's all again very considered.
Sure,
there's moody jazz. You don't otherwise hear. You don't otherwise hear the party ever.
Right.
You just hear him come up going love, and it's of course drenched in echo, love, and he's screaming for love, and there's a baby in there. So there's all these 20-year-old hippies, and then there's a little baby, and he starts focusing on the baby, and then he just starts sweating like a monster, and he's looking at the baby, and he looks like he's really collapsing behind his eyes, and he's not Mickey Rooney. Like he doesn't know his name anymore, and he's just going baby, and he starts just hugging the baby, and he's hugging it like it's a person hugging their own life and love.
The baby's him,
and my theory is that the baby's him because he wants to go back to the womb and be innocent before the corruption of all these Hollywood people.
It's really that analysis of it makes this film that on the surface it just seems like a babbling psychopath.
I sound insane describing.
I was just thinking like people are gonna think we're making this up. No, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I mean,
by the way, the prank trolling. There's no movie.
There's no movie called BJ Lang. Who would call our movie
We're just
BJ
fucking
Lang?
around. I'm just making this up.
Well, it sounds like. I mean, at the surface, this movie just seems like a Mickey Rooney shouting, for 90 minutes or whatever. But that analysis of that scene makes it seem very subtle.
Yes,
they're not. When you're looking at it through the lens of Est or Scream Therapy, that rebirth scene.
Well, I have two notes about
a subtle this movie that's not subtle at all in any other
Right.
capacity.
Well, just yeah,
Well, that moment does seem very clever and like
considered,
well
executed.
Like, it's like doing what it had an intention and it kind of succeeded. Yeah.
shockingly.
No, I know exactly.
There you go.
No, I have a couple notes on that
Really
one.
good.
I forgot to mention that this whole episode, the party scene, starts with BJ alone in the chair, as he often is, and he's just saying, "No friends, no family, no friends, no family, just alone," and he just says 0, 0. Like that's where his head is starting, and then has the fantasy. Second little thing is there's the very progressive psychoanalyst called R.D. Liang.
Yeah.
That's
right.
Laing. I've always had a theory
Oh, of course.
for all these years that it's a clear reference. B.J. Liang presents to R.D. Liang presents is because R.D. Liang he was very famous. I'll try to give it a shorthand, but like his theory was a very progressive idea of psychoanalysis.
Self-help kind of guy.
No, well, it was more like, and I'm making this very simplistic, but like his idea in a button is just like, just go crazy.
Right.
And just let it all hang out.
Right.
And if you want to stand up and take off all your clothes and pee on the floor, just do it. Just do it. Just feel it and just go. Just go and be and exist and exist and exist and exist. And there's no barriers and just, I mean, short of like murdering somebody or yourself. Right. Or maybe you murder yourself. You know, just like exist before any kind of like societal constraints or even like personal hang-up constraints, and just scream, hate yourself. Like, or cry, start crying, like just exist first and be truly honest with yourself.
Right.
And so that means, of course, B.J. Liang is referencing R.D. Liang's psychoanalysis.
So do you think that there's some like, is it possible? But is it possible that like Mickey Rooney really was going through all this stuff with these, programs or
he must. I don't know specifically, but he must have,
right?
Because it was in the zeitgeist. He was Krusty the Clown.
71 too,
right?
Because it really was a part of the culture. Then you got the Skidoo, right? With like you got all the old actors.
Right. He's in Skidoo too.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Skidoo. Or like the Everly Brothers have a psychedelic album.
Yeah.
It's like everyone was trying
doing
things.
Trying it out.
Let's do the twist again. Yeah, exactly. It was what everybody was doing for like 8 months, and like after Easy Riders, like 1970s, right when the film was shot. So anyway, the party scene I think you put it well, like it's actually it's monster success.
Yeah.
Like, and it's very evocative and just to put a button on what you're saying is I think there's clear evidence, all the evidence I need to know that he did go through this kind of therapy is in those scenes. Yeah. Because that's
what it's about.
That's not acting.
Why he would
that is
be
not acting.
Contributing to this movie, and
right.
and would be giving so much of himself to it because he believed
he had to.
You know what? How about this? It's art as therapy.
Right. There you go.
Right.
That was another kind of like wild idea.
Yeah.
Which is you're not making art to make money or be famous.
Right.
Or to like, have ego. You're here to do art to like go through something, which is actually getting very Odorowski.
Totally.
This is a very, and guess what was a huge midnight movie right when B.J. Liang comes out El Topo.
Of course.
Right. And John Lennon and Yoko are like obsessed with El Topo. It was just,
and by the way, Scream Therapy.
No, and by the way, actually the John Lennon's not a bad example. It's like She Loves You. Yeah. Totally naked album cover. 4 years later.
Yeah. Screaming Mother.
Like screaming with naked album covers, but you were doing like She Loves You. Like, it might as well be Chubby Checker.
Yeah.
Well, we got about just 2 minutes left in the goddamn hour here.
I don't know. I have a lot of notes.
I know.
I don't know.
I know. But I just
covered a lot.
Yeah, we sure did. I mean, this definitely. If you, I'm hoping it sounds like to many people out there, this is one of the most fucking insane movies you can possibly experience.
It really is for several reasons.
Yeah, and it's very Tom to me in a lot of ways. When I was watching it, I was definitely laughing at just it's a lot of your sensibilities on display in terms of the things that you really respond to.
That's true.
And I think there was even maybe a sliver of you may not wanting to peel back the curtain to share this movie with the rest of society, like you were saving it for some
protective over
little protective.
No, are you protective? But just
were you saving it for some big?
It's just
big plans for it.
I don't know. I've had a problem my whole life, and this sounds like a douchebag thing, but it's
tell us.
I feel like I don't even want to start trying to articulate like things that interest me because like 1% of the population will care, you know? So it's just like, oh, like my whole life is just like, oh, forget it. Don't, I don't know. Don't BJ Lang. I don't know. But I do like to double down sometimes. And
Right.
yeah, in this case, sure. Because look, most of you are like a hard no.
Yeah.
And I respect that and I understand that. A lot of reviews, like on Letterboxd hates this movie.
I know.
Like almost every Letterboxd
We should
is
say that.
as a hard no.
Most people
But
hate
like
this movie.
1 out of 10 of the IMDb comments are like, oh, it's brilliant. But everyone else is usually like, piece of shit. So a lot of people are just Mickey Rooney fans
Yeah.
on IMDb are like,
Right.
what happened?
Right.
Which I love because
Right.
I think of a guy who's going to the movies and seeing this like, oh, I loved Andy Hardy movies from the 40s. I love Mickey Rooney movies, him and Judy Garland. And imagine getting smacked in the fucking jaw by this film. Like we had our experiences with this, but imagine being just a fan of like old timey Hollywood Andy
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Rooney, Mickey Rooney,
Right.
and just being like, oh my
Well,
God.
yeah, it works both ways though. It's like imagine being an art house experimental movie fan and then being confronted with Andy
screaming-
Rooney.
screaming sweaty Mickey Rooney.
Mickey Rooney.
Yeah, I know.
Not Andy Rooney.
I know. It goes both
But
ways. It's true.
It is truly, I'll just say at the end, this is absolutely a cultural artifact. That's the way I look at it.
Mhm.
This is a slice of history
You're right.
and a real curio artifact. And I'm really glad we did it because
Me too.
man, there's no other circumstance in which we would have. All right, everybody. Well, that was the hour. Let me stop.
Leah,
my clock
I'm
here.
hearing the Fletch theme.
That was
is that your
Yeah,
ringtone?
the Fletch theme is my ringtone. Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody. That was one fucking hour on BJ Lang Presents.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Happy birthday, Tom.
Thank you.
You know, it's almost not
guys.
enough time.
I know.
Oh,
I
not
know.
even close.
know.
Thanks for indulging me. Of
course.
And
Yeah.
if you didn't like it, you know,
I-
you have been warned.
Yes, you've been warned.
It's a film for
Yeah.
just about nobody.
It's true. It really is not a civilian
Yeah.
made for civilians.
We're actually, this is another problem. I'm not extending. I'm just saying, it's hard to make it. We're making it sound more fun than it is.
Yes, that's true.
Like, and when you just describe the film, it sounds more fun. It's like, oh shit. But it's just like, when you do it, it's something else.
well, this
Painful at times.
This is going to be a good way for
In a few
people.
ways.
This is going to be a good way for people to digest all the things about the movie. I mean, it's
Maybe
kind
it'll
of
help
your
the viewing.
Yeah, this is your Cliff Notes Dakota Ring on BJ Lang Presents. But all right, well, let's talk about next week. Shall we do it? Should we just get into the what's on the horizon? So, we have next week. We're doing something pretty radically different.
Very excited.
Yeah, I mean, this was different.
We're doing
This was very.
we're
different.
doing the contemporary decade.
We are, which is
That's really saying something for us.
yeah.
Avatar too.
Well, I'd do it. No, we've done Babylon, which was
Oh yeah, you're right.
contemporary,
Yeah,
but we are doing something that technically, I guess you would say, is television,
right.
right? Which, even though it's not really television because it's the streaming thing.
Who knows?
But it's
these
kinda TV.
terms these days.
Yeah.
The way I look at is
Oh
it
no, it
TV?
is television. It was on television. Fuck, it was on Comedy Central.
Right. But I'm saying the way I see it is just the running time matters to me with these classifications.
Yes.
And it is feature length.
Feature length.
So I kind of look at it like
Yes.
it's kind of a movie.
So we are going to be doing as next week's one fucking hour. We're going to be looking at Nathan Fielder's, a guy we've referenced on the show quite a bit. Canadian comedian who's been tearing it up with Nathan For You and recently his show
The Rehearsal.
The Rehearsal. But I think the best thing he's ever done, and I think something that definitely begs hard dissection, is his feature-length finale of Nathan For You, which was Finding Francis. So next week,
That's great.
we're going to be doing one fucking hour
Awesome.
on Finding Francis. And I got to tell you, I'm really excited about that because there's a lot to fucking talk about.
Yeah. A lot to unpack. Also, just I guess we're all Fielder fanboys. So,
yeah.
you know, just a love fest for him.
All the way back to Side of Smooth.
With Fielder?
Yeah.
Really? You?
Well, I mean, now I like it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, for me, it's man, I guess out of The Rehearsal, there's been a lot of debate, I think, around Nathan in terms
Yeah,
of
that's
his
true.
intention
Yeah.
and what his process is, and is it like ethical? And
Yeah.
there's a lot of interesting things to unpack there. But I think Finding Francis is just one of the more fascinating things I've seen.
And it's
in a
kind
long
of
time.
proto The Rehearsal in a way.
Oh, it is.
Like it's a bridge between
Absolutely.
his half-hour show and
Right.
the longer form and the more kind of deep and less gag-oriented rehearsal
Yes, it is.
trend that he's had.
Absolutely.
So yeah, great.
So we're
Very
gonna
excited.
we're gonna be looking at it
a
as
different kind of insanity.
Yeah, no, a very different kind of insanity. But we're gonna be looking at it as a standalone doc. I think that's the context in which we're looking at it
right.
as. So anyway, next week, 1 fucking hour on Finding Francis. Anything else you want to say to the good people before we let them go?
Give BJ Liang a shot, but feel free to turn it off.
Or not watch it at all? Or do you want people to see it?
Give it a shot.
Give it a shot.
It's on.
it's
Are we
rough.
saying it's on YouTube?
Oh shit!
You can still watch it at 1.5 speed. If,
Yeah.
Oh god,
It might not be fast enough.
Yeah.
We no.
I was going to say 0.5 speed.
Yeah, the movie's on 0.5 speed. But we should say everybody that BJ Liang Presents is on YouTube under the name.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the VHS. Oh Jesus, give me my bag. Sorry, give me my bag.
Oh.
Just really quick. Just give me my bag. It was called the VHS release. Thank God it was put out on VHS on Vestron Video in the 1985, mid 80s, and so indeed it's been distributed mostly for its VHS title.
Oh shit!
Which is The Manipulator.
Wow, punch in on that. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh my
Prized possession, baby.
I got to get one of those. So it's called The Manipulator.
painting.
Yeah. So on YouTube it's called The Manipulator.
1971.
That's how I watched it today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all yours if you want it.
Yeah. So just go on YouTube, search The Manipulator
that painting
1971.
is so horrific.
I know. It doesn't
Well,
even
also-
look like
It
it.
doesn't look like him at all.
I know, it's insane.
All right.
We'll also get a link in the description directly to the YouTube video if you want to watch the movie still.
Yeah.
Shout out to that. All right, everybody. Well, we can't leave you, of course, without your moment of Zen. And all right, take it away. All right, guys. See you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye everybody.
From wherever we are.
Bring it over, Andy. Come on. No. Come on. Talk to Mickey. Yeah. No. You. Wait a minute. What up? Hey. My God. This guy is suffering from ostrich breath. He's got ostrich breath. Oh man.
Motherfucking goddamn orange peel beef.
That was wicked, man.